beautiful day where we had a beautiful mass, and I'm married for the next 60 years. So it was a wonderful ceremony, and all the people were congratulating us. Of course, we didn't know half of them, but it was a nice ceremony. But usually when we come to Fatima, people want to know about my good friend, Sister Lucia, the oldest of the 3 children who our lady visited 6 times. And so I'd like to speak about her for a while and tell you about some of the things she had to go through and through her life. And Sister Lucy was born into a large family, and she was the youngest at the time, and she used to go to school with her cousins, Jacinta and Francisco, who you visit their both houses where they both lived. And we went to Algestrel. And so Lucy and Jacinta were really close together, because Jacinta adored Lucy because she was a little bit older, and Lucy used to take care of her, where Francisco was a tease. He used to tease them all the time in Algestrel. But as they grew up, Lucia was not an angel at all. She was very wild, they called her, because she would not listen to her mother much of the time, because while the rest of the family was working, her 2 sisters were seamstress, like her mother. So they were busy making clothes for the village. There were only like 20 families, and they would take care of their neighbors. And also, at Lucy's house, you went to visit the well behind the house where the angel appeared. Now the well was actually their water supply for all Algestrel. So they owned quite a bit of property. Their father owned the cove, the area where Our Lady appeared. And also, every day, Lucy would take care of Jacinta and Francisco. So as they went out each day to watch the sheep and everything, they would come back, and then Lucy would not obey her mother. Her mother would just tell her certain things. They used to have like a beehive out front of their house, and mother said, "Don't go there. Lucy, don't go there." And just for spite, Lucy went to the beehive. Of course, all the bees chased her down the street. And another time, that room that you saw, there was a spinning wheel where they, in one of the rooms. Did you see that? She's just in there. It's part of the house. Lucy gave it to keep it in the house. But she used to be in that, and while they were making rugs and towels and things like that, she'd be swinging around with it. And she used to get yelled at for that. So, don't swing on that. It's not made for you to swing on it, things like that. So then one day, they put her in charge of chickens to keep her busy. And of course, she started in again, and she come down the street screaming, "Mama, Mama, the chickens are after me. They want to bite me. They want to bite me." Well, she teased them, so they started running after her. So mother got mad, and that went on. That's how the lifestyle went. And then they would go off every day, have lunch together. And during this period of the years of 4 and 5 and 6, Lucy became very important, because her mother taught her all the religion, the Bible, and Lucy learned the Bible and the church commandments and everything like the palm of her hand. And she used to sit down. They used to have a siesta every afternoon at the well, and she used to teach Jacinta and Francisco the commandments and everything. And they both loved the story of the Passion of our Lord. Lucy used to tell them every day the same thing, but they loved it and they were very happy together. So they progressed, and as the time went on, Lucy's family was needed to get some work to survive. So my mother sent the two daughters out, or two oldest daughters out, to become professional seamstresses, and they would make all these vestments for the priest and so forth. And at 8 years old, at the time, Lucy was told that she was old enough now to take care of the sheep. And this is where she began going to the cova every day, taking care of the sheep. And this was like in 1915, especially, because when she first went out, there was a grove of trees that far off in the distance. But she met two friends, two girls who were friends with her, nothing to do with the Monto family. So that they all used to go watch their sheep also to get together. But this one time in the fall of 1915, the girls came running up to Lucy and said, Lucy, what's that way down there? It looks like a person. And Lucy was looking, and she says, I don't know. It looks like a man with a sheet over his head, but I don't really know what it is. And it faded away. So when they got back to the village, of course, Francisco and Jacinta couldn't wait to tell people that they saw something like that. And at the time, they weren't really involved with it, but the two girls that Lucy was, they lived next door down the street with her, and they were spreading the word all over through them, and Lucy saw this big white figure, and her mother started in, what did you see? There's nothing down there we know of. She said, Mom, I don't know. It was like a person with a white sheet over it, and it disappeared. Well, that's all they needed, because the rest of the village started making fun of Lucy, saying, okay, Lucy, you want to go see any images today? And it started, and they went on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and she never got that. And that's why when the angel of Portugal appeared to them in 1916, 3 times, Lucy said, we have to keep this quiet because we don't want to go through that again from what I went through last year. Criticized and laughed at all the rest of the year. So that was held. That was held secret for quite a long time. And Jacinta and Francisco begged their mother and father if they could go with Lucy to watch the sheep. And the mother said, "No, you're too young. You're too young. Go ask your father." And their father said, "Oh, let them go. Let them go." So they were excited because every day from that day on, the 3 of them lived together as all one family, brother and sister. They loved it. They went to lunch and they went to lunch all the way up to the cove where the basilica where they are buried today. In that basilica, that's the field where they used to go also to watch the sheep. Because on that May 13th, when a lady appeared for the first time, that's where they saw the lightning come, it was just lightning they saw. And then, as they said, Lucy said, we better go home because it's going to have a big storm. And so they decided to head home, and we came down to where the Capellina is, where we had Mass today, around that area. And they all came down, and Francisco kept walking down by them, and then he turned around and he didn't see them. So they looked back up to where the Capellini was, and he saw them both kneeling down praying, and of course Francisco said, oh, they're always praying. He just picked up a lamb and went back to them. Then he saw Lucy speaking, and he said, Lucy, who are you talking to, the tree? what are you talking? Who are you talking to? Because he could hear nothing and he couldn't see anything. And Lucy said to our lady, "My lady, where are you from?" She says, "Heaven." She said, "Well, I go to heaven?" And she said, "Yes." "And Jacinta?" "Yes." "And Francisco?" "Yes, but he must pray many rosaries," because he used to tease him and everything. So right away, she said, "Take out your rosary and start praying the rosary, and you'll see Our Lady." And when he did, sure enough, he could see her, but could never hear what Our Lady said in all the apparitions. Could not hear. And after each apparition, Lucy got permission from Our Lady to tell Francisco what she said and what's going to happen. And as the apparitions went on, it would take a good hour to explain all the things that happened in the apparitions, so I'll give you the highlight of them, okay? But in the very first apparition, it's important because Lucy said, "Our Lady, since you left from heaven, my two girlfriends, Maria, who was 16, and Amelia, who was 18, are they in heaven?" And Our Lady said, "Yes, Maria's in heaven, but Amelia will be in purgatory to the end of the world." And right there, it didn't dawn on her to ask Our Lady why that was, you know. And then Our Lady says, "I will come to take Francisco and Jacinta soon, and you, Lucy, must remain on earth for quite some time, for our Lord wants to use you to make me known and loved throughout the world." And that's went on, you know, and then the next major apparition was in July. It was the longest one of all, because Our Lady said to them, "Make sure you pray the rosary every day," and she reminded them to come every day for 6 months at the same time, on the 13th of every month. And in October, I will tell you what I want and who I am. So anyways, in July, Our Lady kind of said, "Are you willing to give yourself up to God and sacrifice for sins?" And without question, Lucy answered all of them, "Yes, we are." And she said, "Well, you'll have much to suffer, but my Immaculate Heart will be your comfort." And then when Lucy found out that Jacinta and Francisco were going to go to heaven before her, she was sad. And Our Lady said, "Are you sad?" She said, "Don't worry, because my Immaculate Heart will take care of you and comfort you for all your life." But she was still sad because she knew she was going to lose them. And so during this July apparition, Our Lady was telling people, telling them to make sacrifice for sins. And all of a sudden, she lowered her hand, and rays of light came out and opened up the earth. And they saw a vision of hell. And they saw beasts screaming, flames, people on souls on fire. And Lucy said, she said, "I told the lady that I'm glad you're here because I was scared to death. I thought I was going to die of fright. It was so terrible." And after that small, short vision of hell, Our Lady sealed it off again. And they say this today, this place where it took place, where Our Lady is standing now in the spot where she appeared, where you lit candles and put it in the stands behind and burned the candles, all black smoke, and that black thing, of course, to the side of the Capellina, where you put candles. That, they presume, is the spot that opened up, and they saw the vision of hell in that area. And then, on the other side of the Capellina, is a big, huge tree, a holm oak tree. And it was under that tree that the 3 children ran and hid under the branches before they knew Our Lady was coming to keep away from the people, because the people asking the same old questions every day. Lucy, ask our mother for this. You, my family, we need work. questions over and over again. So that's where they used to hide. And then when a lady came back, and that also in July apparition, a lady taught them the prayer that we use between the decades of the rosary, Oh my Jesus, that prayer. She said, say that between every decade of the rosary. And then, in the same apparition, it was a long apparition. That's the apparition Our Lady gave 3 secrets to the children. And the two first secrets were written out in the 1940s about Lucy, but the third secret was kept until the year 2000. All her life she had to hide what that secret was because she was instructed not to tell anyone. And Jacinta Frisco, they couldn't tell anyone either. So when August came around, the government official said, why don't I take him to the Cobra in my new car? And first they looked like this, and he says, I'll take him home right afterwards. And once he got them in the car, he took them to where I'm not any place near, and they were in jail. And it was a long time they were in jail. They prayed with the prisoners and everything. They were threatened to be burned in oil if they didn't give the secret. And they kept praying and praying and praying, but eventually they were released. And Our Lady did not come on the 13th in August, it was the 19th in the Leños where you went, okay? And Leños was a little story about the tree that Our Lady appeared on, because after she, that was the shortest of all the apparitions, and she always important about that apparitions is pray, pray, and sacrifice yourself for sinners. And that is where Jacinta